I'm getting tired of these guys holding up cowardly comedians like Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle as some kind of hero. These guys aren't. They they're cowardly people. Now take a look at Bill Burr. He did all those stand-up routines bashing women, and the first thing he does is hitch his wagon to a feminist woman, a man hater. Nia considers herself a feminist. You can see it in their podcast, her basically putting him in his place. All these guys do it. They would snatch up a man hater in a heartbeat. Men take what they can get. Now, Dave Chappelle, let's see his heroics.
Is under fire after his latest stand-up special dropped on Tuesday. There's mounting backlash over claims of harmful transphobic and homophobic remarks, and LGBTQ groups are swift to respond, putting Netflix even under the microscope too. Our Chris Connolly has the story.
Gay people get mad at me, lesbians get mad at me, but I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is true, these transgenders, these want me dead.
That's Dave Chappelle on stage in Detroit for his stand-up special, The Closer, sparking debate and outrage ever since the show debuted on Netflix Tuesday. With his
I'll give you the heads up. What happened is Dave Chappelle wants to do comedy and make fun of whoever he wants, and he came up against this wall. He can't make fun of certain people. Certain people are hands off. And then guess what? He saw a rift between the trans and the turf in the LGBT. And he figured, wow, if I side with the turfs, I can get away with going after the trans. That's what went on here. This is not anything courageous. He isn't standing up for anything.
Tuesday with his controversial comments about the trans community.
We canceled J.K. Rowling, my God. But effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad as they started calling her a TERF.
TERF stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist.
I'm Team TERF.
On social
There you go. He's Team TERF. He's declaring it. Please come and protect me, girls. So I can make fun of the trans. He wants to be able to say that, gender is a fact, but he can't. So he figures until this mess is cleared up, he might be able to get it. He's Team TERF. By the way, intersectional feminists, they at least pretend or try to pretend they like men. The TERFs just come right out and say, men are scum. So this is basically like Chappelle going to the KKK for protection. This is brave.
Social media reaction to Chappelle's comments throughout the special has been swift and intense, in deeds as well as words. Netflix, I'm done, declared Jacqueline Moore, former showrunner of the acclaimed series Dear White People, who told of her own transition during Pride Week on Netflix. I will not work with them as long as they continue to put out and profit from blatantly and dangerously transphobic content. GLAAD issuing a statement saying in part, Dave Chappelle's brand has become synonymous with ridiculing trans people and other marginalized communities.
Now, we'll see Chappelle's reaction. Does he cave or does he stand firm?
And from National Black Justice Coalition President David J. Johns, with 2021 on track to be the deadliest year on record for transgender people in the United States, the majority of whom are Black transgender people, Netflix should know better. Netflix should immediately pull The Closer from its platform.
Any of you who have ever watched me know that I have never had a problem with transgender people.
Really?
If you listen to what I'm saying, clearly, my problem has always been with white people.
Wow, wow. That was courageous. That was incredible. So at first, he ran behind the skirts of the TERFs so he could make fun of trans. And now they've cranked up the heat. He's switching over and saying, trans, we both hate white people. But when he says people, he means men. That's what goes unsaid. White people mean white men because turfs are full of white women. He doesn't mean them. So, what an act of courage.
With white people.
There's been no comment as yet from Netflix. Chappelle has long rejected the charge that he is transphobic. His fans have hailed what they consider his comic fearlessness, especially in dealing with racism in American life. In the closer, Chappelle saying this to the LGBTQ community.
I am not telling another joke about you until we are both sure that we are laughing together.
For good
Wow. Talk about groveling. Talk about groveling. He just signaled to them. He says, sorry, you've got me beat. Uh, Chappelle, if they're laughing together, you have to submit to one side or the other. You know, that's the way it works. And it looks to me like he's going to be submitting. Wow, way to stand firm like Jello. Oh my God. Now we'll take a look at this one. Dave Chappelle on comedy and the Me Too movement. We're all figuring this out. Wow, he's figuring it out. Thing is, there's nothing to figure out. Either the Me Too movement is legitimate or it's not. So for him to say that, what a cowardly thing to say. What a non-committal thing to say. You'll hear a bit of this.
Grace of God type thing. Scary being a white dude now, isn't it? A little bit, no? Well, you're not going to get me too.
Now, did you hear that? The way he said it? You're not going to get Me Too'd. Who is Dave Chappelle to tell this white man he's not going to get Me Too'd? Considering white men have been getting Me Too'd all along. So you see the disgust in his voice. He actually showing his own bias, his own racism. More solidarity between men.
It's funny for black dudes to see white people go through this because this is how it always is for us. All my heroes is either murdered by the government or registered sex offenders.
Wow, that's funny.
In the Me Too moment, does that change the line for you of what you feel you can say or not say?
Honestly speaking, I have no idea.
Honestly speaking, I have no idea. He knows he's got to keep his P's and Q's together because he can be Me Too'd at any time. Nothing's changed in the past. White women could point their fingers at black men and get them lynched. And now white women can point their fingers at Dave Chappelle and also black women too, and get him fired, get his gig taken down. And he knows this. So this is just him upright saying something false. He knows.
I don't know. Like, we're all figuring this out, I think, at the same time together. It's a huge collective moment. But as a comedian, I mean, it'd be a very, very difficult thing not to talk about. As a human, it's a very difficult thing not to feel, to be indifferent to it.
But you aren't talking about it. At least you're not taking any stance. Listening to all that waffling and gibbering he does. Oh my God. Now, the last thing I want to show, he's going to talk about his hero, Cosby. Let's see if he throws him under the bus.
Line is, there's a lot of changes. Obviously, Bill Cosby was a hero to me.
Chappelle often talks of Bill Cosby in his routines.
My God, you can't imagine. It'd be as if you heard that chocolate ice cream itself had raped 54 people.
Wow. Now, this was before Cosby got exonerated, but even then, I knew it was false. I knew hashtag Me Too was a criminal enterprise. I knew it. And so you think he didn't really suspect it? And here he is backing that false narrative against his hero, Cosby. I thought there was, racial solidarity between these black men.
You'd say to yourself, oh man, but I like chocolate ice cream. I don't want it to rake.
Our conversation took place soon after Cosby's conviction, and Chappelle spoke of watching one of his victims outside the court.
And I remember seeing her sobbing. And the emotional content of her crying, only she knows what that meant to her.
Wow, what Uncle Tom? Can I ask you guys something? Has Dave Chappelle offered Cosby an apology now? Because he's been exonerated. He's been let go. It's been shown that he hasn't committed those crimes. That's why they let him go. So has Dave Chappelle come up and apologize for saying this about Cosby? I bet he hasn't. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe you guys can show me. But you see, this is the heroism I see. Even a lot of these right wingers uphold Chappelle here as some kind of paragon of virtue. And I can kind of understand it because they're the same. He represents them. They're the same. These are the same guys who get zapped by feminists, and then they turn around and talk about wokeism. All these guys are too scared to even name the enemy. So I guess the fact that Chappelle here postures that he stands up for something is what they do. And so they say, yeah, here's my hero. But as you can see, every time you turn around, he's backpedaling and running away and hiding. Now that's all I need to say and show about, the Chappelle here. And now I'm going to get my puke bucket. Goodbye, everyone.